Welcome to Rush's Cafe. I knocked over my sign. My son made this sign. I don't know how well you can see that, but that's going to be there for Rush's Cafe. My son made that for me. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm excited. This is a coffee from Portland, Oregon called Stumptown. I believe it's Portland. Ooh, Certified B Corporation. To be honest, I'm not sure what that means. This company meets the highest standard of social and environmental impact. Good for them. That's awesome. Yeah, Portland. There it is. Portland. They're based out of Portland. Anyway, so it's a coffee I'm super excited to try. I drove through Portland as a kid often because I grew up just outside of San Francisco in a little town called Martinez in the Bay Area of California. And I had family who lived in Washington, so from time to time we would take trips and we would go through Oregon. And the thing I loved about Oregon, now I don't know if this is still the case, because I haven't lived in California or been through Oregon in a long time, but it used to be, and it might still be the case, Oregon has no sales tax. So the price marked is the price you pay. And I loved that about Oregon. I think more places should take that up. But anyway, so today we're going to do as we have done in the past. I have weighed out 20 grams of the coffee, and we will do a 1:16 ratio when doing a pour over. Now, as usual, we've got to look at the beans. All right, so here we go. Check it out. Beautiful. So if you look at these ones, they're a bit smaller than the ones that we had last week when we did the 49th parallel coffee. So they're a little bit smaller. They are a medium roast, it looks like. I'm not sure what they label it as, to be honest. I think with next week's coffee, I will actually have more of the information about the roaster themselves and the coffee kind of committed to memory. But it looks more like a medium roast. And it's the smell of the beans before they're brown. It kind of smells like spaghetti. I really like that. The tasting notes that we find are citrus and dark chocolate. I didn't smell any of that, but it definitely smelled like, do you like my flowers? Pretty cool, eh? They smell like roses because they're roses. But anyway, I found that this smells like spaghetti. Now, the grounds themselves, once it's actually ground up, more or less the same. I can kind of smell what they might be considering the citrus side of it. But yeah, anyway. Oh, I don't remember what story I was going to tell this time. Anyway, so 1:16 ratio. I've weighed out 20 grams of coffee, and we're going to put out 320 grams of water. Story. What's a good story? You know, I could tell the story about the time that I had a spark in my arm. Now, this may not be coffee type story that you want to hear, but it's a lot of fun. So I was a little kid. I was probably, I want to say maybe 8 or 9, maybe 10 years old when this story happened. Anyway, so I was growing up and I was outside the house. I had been playing outside all day long. In my yard, you could find these really cool rocks. They kind of look like geodes. And you'd crack them open and they have little crystals inside. So I would spend hours outside looking for these rocks. And so at one time I'm out there doing my thing and I have a hammer with me, like just a regular hammer. My mom calls me, David, it's time to come in. I said, okay, can I have just 10 more minutes? She said, okay, 10 minutes, you can have 10 minutes. So she gave me 10 more minutes, and in that 10 minutes, I grabbed one of the rocks and I took the hammer and I decided that it would be fun to make sparks with the hammer and the rock. Because if you were to hit it just right on the edge, sparks would fly. And it was so much fun. I mean, as much fun as, now I may not find it as fun now. So we're at 320 grams there now. I might not find it as much fun now. However, it was really cool because when you're a kid, and especially as nighttime is starting to fall, and you get those sparks going, really cool. Now, what I didn't anticipate was getting hit by one of those sparks. Of course, why would I? I was like 9 years old anyway. So I'm hitting along, bang, 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 bang. Spark flies off, hits me in the arm. Sorry if you're squeamish. Blood everywhere. So I jump up, I go running into the house. I'm freaking out, right? All this is going on, and my mom sees me. She goes, "Oh, David, what's going on?" So anyway, she squeezes my arm, puts pressure on the spot to stop the bleeding, right? She calls my dad because he's at work. She goes, "David, something happened. He's bleeding like crazy." So my dad rushes home. And as I'm waiting, I'm crying my face off. Am I gonna die? No, David, you're not gonna die. So I'm waiting and waiting, and finally my dad gets home. Right, I still have my arm in position, trying to keep that flow from going. And so then my dad goes, "All right, David, we've got to look at your arm. Let's open it up. Let's take a look at your arm." "No, I don't want it to start again." So David, we have to take a look. I said, "Oh, okay, fine." So I'm sitting there, and we open it up. And there's just a little dot, no bigger than a little teeny freckle. And it was doing all this damage. And my dad looks at it, and it's like, "That's it? That's what you called me home for?" And I'll never forget that. Crazy stuff. But anyway, it was non-life-threatening. It was non-lethal. And my dad came rushing home, and I looked ridiculous. My mom ended up looking ridiculous. She's like, "Honey, it was worse than what this is." So anyway, but we are almost there. We're at the end of the brew cycle. It is coming through, doing that final drawdown. I'm really excited to brew these up. Well, obviously we're brewing them up now. I'm super excited to taste it. I was thinking one of these times what I should actually do is I should have a snack or a piece of food, because oftentimes if you are tasting coffee and you have a piece of food or a treat of some kind that fits the tasting notes that the roasters say that the coffee fits under, once you sip your coffee and then you take a bite of whatever it is you're eating, chew it up, swallow it, and then once you take another sip, it will change the flavor of the coffee because now you've added another element into that tasting process, right? So anyway, maybe we'll do that some other time. Now, this coffee in particular is from Stumptown. Stumptown Roasters, they're kind of very well known in the roasting game on the West Coast. And this is their coffee called Hairbender. And it says, "The coffee that started it all. Hairbender is our most popular coffee with good reason. It's sweet, complex, and balanced. We still serve this dynamic coffee in all our cafes as espresso, but it's a day maker however you brew it." So cool. So they use it as espresso. So it is on the lighter side of an espresso type roast. So this is going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's get rid of this. The weather around here has been so weird. We had snow for a couple weeks, and then out of nowhere it went away. It's still kind of starting to get cold again, but for a couple days we were in the positive temperatures, and we actually had sunshine, which was awesome. Which where we live, normally this time of year we have a crazy amount of snow, but this year we actually had a rather mild, not horrible winter. So anyway, all right, time to get started on this. Here we go. Now, let's smell it to get the aroma going. It is very citrusy. To me, it smells like mandarin oranges, like the little ones, like the little teeny oranges. That's what it smells like to me. So I'm definitely smelling some citrus. I'm not really getting any of that dark chocolate that it's talking about, but I am getting that citrus. So anyway, let's do the next part where we get to slurp. It's slurping time. You remember last week, we are the new superheroes, the coffee superheroes. It's slurping time. Oh, that's interesting. It's almost like a burnt orange. So the aroma, when smelling it, has that kind of mandarin orange aroma to it. The taste tastes like a burnt orange. It does not have like the chocolate orange type concept to it, but it does. It tastes like. Well, let's take another sip and see. I might be able to come up with a a proper kind of, I guess, example of what it tastes like. Definitely citrusy, and very powdery. Like it has a light smokiness to it, almost as if you're to have some smoke thrown in your mouth and then throw an orange in and chew it all together, all into one. But it's nice. Like I guess the other way would be like if you had a piece of orange and liquid smoke and you kind of wiped the liquid smoke on there and ate it up. That's kind of what the vibes I'm getting from it. But it's really good. It is a rather dirty coffee, and what I mean by that is it's very, it lingers there. I can still taste it. There's quite an aftertaste to it. Not a bad one. It's probably not my favorite coffee, but it is quite good. Definitely on the more tangy side. So it does have a bit more citrus, but it is lacking in, sorry, it's not on the tangy side. It has a citrusy taste, it's lacking the tangy. So where sometimes when you get a citrusy type coffee, you'll get that kind of like sour, like, not acidic, but like that kind of sour tangy taste that when you think about citrus and sour and stuff like that, and you get that kind of weird feeling in the back of your mouth. A lot of times that's what I'll get from a citrusy type coffee. I'm not getting that. It's more so it's very citrus on the front and then just kind of regular, kind of almost like smoky on the back. But anyway, it's quite good. Like I said last week, I'm a sucker for good packaging. I love this color. I tried to match as close as I could when doing it. I really like how, oh my God, look at that. Wow, we're matching like crazy. And I got my green sign that my son made. Anyway, it is quite a good coffee. It's one that I would probably only brew every once in a while. And I'm gonna actually try this as espresso sometime this week to see how that turns out. But anyway, yeah, aroma, beans smelled like spaghetti. The aroma of the coffee was more very kind of mandarin orangey, and the overall taste was kind of like liquid smoke and oranges, that kind of citrusy taste. Anyway, join us next week. We'll have another story for you, a brand new coffee that we haven't tried, and we'll see you then. Thanks for joining.